Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. And that community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. Now, today, I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Kurly. Welcome, Kurly.
Hi, Extus. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great having you. Great having you. So, Kurly, tell myself and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
I have the pleasure and joy of being a Feng Shui Master. So, in simple terms, I work out the connection between human beings and the space they occupy to bring out the best in the human beings.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. And what got you started down this path?
Oh, okay. So I don't often tell this story, but I suppose it's been fed back to me. It's quite traumatic. I'm going to give you the short version. So when I was a child, I was very, very sick. I had really bad 2 different conditions that meant that I spent most of my time in hospital. And, you know, there are things you boast about in life, and it's okay to do so. But knowing the staff at the hospital so well because you're an inpatient is not one of them. And so I didn't get on with the other kids at school because I was ostracized. I wore bandages all over my skin. And it was rather unsightly. And so I became very academic. And then one day, when I was about 14, one of my favorite pastimes was to go nosing around old bookshops. And the very bottom, behind the books, I spotted that there was a book hiding. And there were several shenanigans trying to get this book out, Extus, because I'm terrified of spiders and critters. So for me, it was a real I'm a celebrity moment, putting my hand into there.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted this book, it felt right. And I pulled out this book, and it was a book on Feng Shui. So with a child's mind and a child's understanding, I started to apply these things in my bedroom, not even the whole house. And a skin condition and a breathing condition that I'd had for 14 years since birth literally started to heal radically and rapidly within weeks. And then I think it was about 2 weeks later, I slept through the first whole night of my life. And when I woke up, my parents were beside themselves. They'd run consultants and all sorts, well, what's wrong with her? How does she look? She looks like she's sleeping. Okay, what about her breathing? Well, she looks like she's sleeping. No, but she might be, they thought I'd gone into a coma or something because I slept 2 to 3 hours max. Mm-hmm. And so you can understand why this then fascinated me, and my fascination with it grew because it's the only thing that I changed. And, in 14 years, my parents had been to the medical people, the alternative therapies, and also what I call the witch doctors and wizards, because I didn't understand spirituality. And so I'm the walking, talking piece of evidence. And, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years now. And it's the most passionate example of mine. But actually now my clients present the most amazing examples of success and healing, etc. And that's how I came to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Feng Shui is kind of what did it for you. What did that look like for you? So you said you got the book and then you just started rearranging. What did you what exactly did you rearrange?
Well, okay, so at that time, as a 14-year-old, I got this book and I parrot fashion did some of the things that it said in there. And in order to understand how doing something like that, especially with our Western education, through which it's harder to understand the concept that moving a few things around might radically change your experience of your body, your life, your thoughts, the way you operate and perform. It's really easy to explain, and I'd ask everybody watching this, to have a think for a second, including you, Extus, okay? So if I was in a live room speaking, I'd be doing this business. Put your hands up, folks. And I'd be saying, how many of you have ever walked into a space and you just feel, wow, this is amazing, and your whole body goes, oh, you feel good, and you perform better, you have better conversations, your ideas flow, and so on and so on and so on and so forth, right? Well, equally, you can have the converse, can't you? And we've all been into a meeting or met up with somebody and you know, just hated the environment that we're in, or the room or the space, and thought, okay, let's just do this and get out, right? And we don't make the right decisions or choices. We certainly don't get the best out of each other that way. So Feng Shui is about understanding that, you know, just like we were born and conceived in somebody's womb and our environment was everything, in the same way, when we leave that womb throughout our lives, we literally are feeling the effects of the environment, and it's constantly shifting how we operate from a cellular level, because there's lots of genetic studies about this now saying, you know, you can get two twins, they both carry the disease genes, but this one, the disease has flourished and this one's fine. And they look at them and say, well, what was the difference? And scientists come back, you know, and they say, well, it was the environmental triggers that set the disease off in this one, right? And so in the same way, it works, because we just become desensitized. I mean, how many people, whether you work from home, which most consultants do, to whether you go into an office and work from an office, or there's a meeting space that you rent regularly, you become desensitized. But actually, if we were to ramp it up in terms of reactions, you'd immediately understand, yeah, this space is affecting me all the time. And everybody I bring into this space, you know, that might be the factor that shifts them into saying yes, or keeps them in the space of indecision and no. So that's how it works. And you know, a lot of people think that Feng Shui is about furniture and decor and knocking down buildings and, you know, knocking down walls. But I can honestly say to you, in the nearly 30 years I've been doing this, I rarely ask people to redecorate. I rarely ask people to knock down walls, etc. And it's because, and I ask them to do simple things and they get big results. And I'll give you a couple of quick examples. You know, and it's very, very exciting to see, isn't it? When somebody comes to you and they're just not able to crack something, and you get them to do something that they think, how in the world is that going to help me, Curly Whirly? Really now? Right? I'm coming to you with all this research and figures and etc. And you're telling me to do this? And they do it because they paid for the service, or they, you know, most of my clients come to me from through recommendation. So they trust the person who's recommending me because they've had results, or they've raved about Curly, etc. And they do the thing, and I check in with them like 2 weeks later, and, well, actually, this has happened, and that person just happened to, and then this, and oh yeah, crikey, I'm getting a lot of happy coincidences. How is that happening, Kay? Oh yes, it's in the area of life that we were going to work on. So the things that we do in modern Feng Shui, they're a lot more advanced, they're a lot more precise, and they really get to the heart of the matter, but they require very little time, energy, and money from clients these days, because, you know, sometimes it's not that you don't have the funds to do all the redecorating. Sometimes you don't have the time or energy, let's be honest. And most people who are in the entrepreneurial world or service sector, in the way that you and I are, they've got so many projects on the go that factoring in something like that on top is going to be a tall order. And they actually needed the results yesterday,
Right.
right? So that's how it works. Can I give you a couple of examples?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll give you some recent ones. Let me give you one of my own. Okay, so the week before last, I was away. I decided I needed a holiday. Okay, which I do roughly once a month, at least minimum. And I decided to do this thing called activation. Okay, so I did a Feng Shui activation in the home, and then I went off. And my particular pleasure is mountain hiking. So for 5 days, I went off grid, didn't even check my phone. Actually, it's 6 days. And, enjoyed the glorious weather, wading through streams and hiking and scrambling. And then when I got back and switched on my phone, I had 6 new clients out of nowhere, which is what the activation was for. It was for new clients, income flow in. Now, I'm not saying that Feng Shui is magic. It's not a spell. It's not voodoo. Any of these things. What it does is it is the sprinkling of something that actually many of the affluent people in this world and leaders, etc., have been using for centuries. Thankfully, it's more widely available to pretty much everybody now and accessible on multiple levels. But, most people don't know that, for example, dare I say his name, Donald Trump his life and his finances didn't take off, and his property concerns, until he started working with a Feng Shui consultant. That Feng Shui consultant then also became famous because of the results his client was getting, So I did these activations, and then I've got a lady who's an accountant who wanted to, lives in her family home, young lady. And she said to me, long-standing client, she said, "Kurly, I need more money." And I said to her, "Great, fantastic. Now tell me, is the problem money flow in? Is the problem money flow out? Or is there no problem, you just want more money?" And she said to me, "Oh, it's really good news, Kurly. It's C. Just everything's fine. It's just, I think I should have more money." And I said, "I like that logic. You're a money person. You should have tons of it." Right? And so we did one of these activations, and so no redecorating, no moving furniture, none of this. The whole activation probably cost her about 30 to 40 pounds, and something like 20 to 30 minutes to do. And then she reported back that within 2 weeks she had secured something that meant her income was going to go up by just under 30% for the year ongoing. Somebody else in the house that had been looking for work for over 2 years suddenly landed a job, and it wasn't an application. It was somebody literally picked up the phone to them and said, "Oh, you're still looking for work? I have something for you." And her parents received a letter randomly through the post saying, "This endowment is now matured, and you've got 30 whatever grand it was." And they'd forgotten they even had it. Somebody else knocked on the door, like a complete stranger, and said, "Oh, you have that event venue near you. If you're willing to give us the use of one parking space on your driveway, we'll take 50%, you take 50%, and we'll do all the marketing, and on event dates we'll rent out your space." So they've got an ongoing income that way. She also had 2 other income streams come in from this, and that's how modern Feng Shui is done. We still do the traditional stuff as well, but we are very mindful of what's going on in the world right now and what people have the capacity for,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, good. So so tell me more about the Feng Shui then. What is, because I always thought when I heard it, I think I've never got into the topic itself. I've seen like books and book covers with the beautiful
Mm.
designs and stuff like that, but that's as far and as much as I know about Feng Shui. So what exactly are you saying it's not just that there's different elements of it as well too? What are the different
Yeah,
elements?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm normally told that I explain it in a very different way to what the way that most people understand it. And that's because I always say to people, look, Feng Shui is not about the house, it's not about the office or that particular development. It's actually about you, the people. Because let's face it, you have a house and or a building, and we see it from old castles in the UK where I'm based and other old buildings around the world. A building is fine, it will age and weather with time. It doesn't actually ask for anything, right? It's once it's built, it just sits there and it's fine. It's when you put somebody inside that building, a new owner, that they will say, I want to grow my business by X amount, or they'll say, oh, we're a new couple, we really want to start our family. And somebody else might say, you know, I've had a really hard life and I want to retire and just have peace and joy and lots of social stuff here. And so Feng Shui, although it's about the environment, in terms of the environment is the tool that we use and work with, it's actually about you and I, Extus, and what do we want, you know?
Hmm.
And so what it does, it's a very, very simple principle. If you simplify it right down and take all the mystery out, it's as simple as this. You have a person, you have the environment around them, and you basically look at that person, you get to know them, and then you say, okay, what does this person need in order to get them into that mode that we call thriver mode? How do they need to breathe? What do they need to see? How do they need to sit, stand? Do they need a space that feels like it hugs them so they feel really safe? Do they need a space that has lots and lots of light and feels large and spacious? Do they need, if they're very academic, they're into learning and it inspires their soul and creativity, do they need to have books visible around them? Do they need it to be really clear of clutter, or do they need something that's quite vibrant with colors? And so Feng Shui, at its most simplest, is about the principle that when you create the right environment around a person, they will literally start attracting lucky coincidences and synchronicities into their lives. So they'll start being able to talk more often about the right people at the right time, more open to wanting to help or say yes, and that lots of lucky coincidences happen. And that's what Feng Shui does. So Feng Shui is not about you not working hard, you not being clear about your goals or where you want your business to head, etc. Feng Shui is the thing that will power it all up so that you start to go up levels in every level of an area of your life. So for example, I've got clients who come to me, they want to conceive, right? And they've done IVF and all sorts of things, or they've had lots of miscarriages, and I help them create the right environment that's going to help their body to achieve, or if it's that they haven't got the right romantic setup, etc. Then I have to be honest, most people come to me for one of three things. I can categorize them very easily into those three areas. The number one area is anything to do with wealth and income generation or maintenance of money. And at the moment, in this time where we've got the world literally changing before our eyes, pandemic, etc. Actually, the thing that I'm helping most of my clients with more than anything is adjusting to working from home. So making sure that the workspace that they're operating from really is helping them to increase their business, attract clients, etc., and bringing out the best in them. Secondly, they come to me for relationship matters. And we're not just talking, the intimate couple thing here. We're talking about offices where you have teams of people. And, if there isn't harmony amongst your teams, they're not going to perform. You might get people off sick a lot. You might get a really difficult atmosphere, etc. Your bottom line will be affected. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is usually health matters. Because let's face it, you cannot access quality of life or joy in anything if you're suffering in your health, whether it be a biological thing or a mental and emotional thing. And we're also in a time right now where actually, so many more people are working from home. So these are real concerns, because people can feel lonely very easily. I mean, entrepreneurs, we all talk about it all the time, don't we? How important it is not to go down that tunnel of isolation. And, how do we connect to our clients and make them feel like we're still in touch with them from our homes, even more so now? So these are three things I tend to work on. Does that help explain it?
Makes perfect sense, Curly. Love it, love it. Awesome. That's definitely a fascinating experience. So I guess the question now becomes, if someone wanted to learn more about what you do and wanted to connect, what's the best way for them to be able to do so?
Okay, so I have sent you an email address
Mm-hmm.
for them to email me on. And then I also have a website. And I wanted to show you something, if I may, very quickly. I sketched it out very quickly because I think a lot of us are visual, and words can kind of go in and go out, etc. But visuals tend to stick, if I may. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm going to hold that up, and what you're going to be able to see is, so that's my rendition of a person, very artistic, as you can see. Then there's my rendition of a home or office, and that is the symbol that I use for time. So what we do in Feng Shui is we put together a very, very simple equation. We always say, it starts off with a person. Who are they? What do they need? What are they here for?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, we look at their environment and we say, okay, let's create the environment that is going to literally attract in money, or is that literally going to attract in clients, so that you're almost wondering, how did that happen? It's fantastic, but how did that happen?
Yeah.
Right? And then I talk about the energy of time, and just very quickly I'll explain that to you, Extus. Sometimes people look a bit confused at me when I say time carries energy too, but actually we look at the seasons of the year, and in the autumn all the leaves know it's time to do that shimmy dance and shake off the leaves, right? Animals start to prepare for battening down the hatches, and they do this wherever autumn comes in. So time carries energy too, and you and I can feel the energy of time. So in
Mm-hmm.
a room I will normally say, put your hands up if you're a morning person or an evening person, and everybody knows straight away which one they are. Yeah, every single day is different, and that's because every morning carries a similar signature energetically.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do in Feng Shui is we get these three things. I ask my clients straight up, what do you want to achieve? Right, so we put their goals in the middle, and I show them how to redirect their energy, that of their house and time, towards their goals, and that's when the magic happens. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really quite wonderful, because the results can start almost immediately, which
Yeah.
is great. So yeah, they can get in touch with me through my website or the email address I've sent you. Hopefully you can share that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or on the replay, the link to connect with Kurly, they will be either right above or below the video. So you can just click and get connected right to her.
Mhm.
Well, Kurly, hey, thank you so much for sharing the wisdoms. Thank you so much for sharing what it is that you do. It's fascinating stuff. I love it. Do you have any
Mm.
final thoughts before we end?
Yes. So whenever I do something like this, I think it's my pleasure and joy to be generous and give people a tip they can use straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I may, I'd like to give every single person who watches this a tip that they can use right now. So just let me be absolutely clear. The people that are going to watch this are consultants, they've got their own businesses, etc., right?
Fine.
Okay, so in the year 2020, when we've got so much going on across the world, I would advise all the people listening to this, and remember, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm okay with this. You don't have to believe me. Try it. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain if this works, right? And it's a big win. So have a look at your home. Get a compass on your phone, all right? It's really, really easy. We all have iPhones or Android phones and things. So what you do is you literally get the compass on your phone. You find the center of your office or the center of your house, okay? And you just put that down on the floor, right? And then what you're going to do is have a look and see where the southeast is. Sorry, southwest, forgive me,
Mm-hmm.
southwest. All right. And then put your desk in the southwest, work from the southwest. If the southwest happens to be the bathroom, I'm not suggesting you go and sit on the can and base your desk from the can. Okay, I have had people do things like this. What I'm saying is there will be an area of the southwest you can access, and if it's not somewhere where you can put your desk, maybe you'll just go and have an important call there or something like that, and play with it and see what happens, because that's the area that you're sitting, that you're seeing me sitting in right now. Okay, so I'm not giving you something that I don't use myself, and these things work very, very, very powerfully. So just like you have a favorite place to sit in your lounge and you make a beeline for it, the Southwest will help you with building a business, whether it's more clients or finance. And obviously, if you want to do something personalized and to really, really ramp it up, you can contact me directly, or you can go onto my Facebook page and see the tips that I put out there. But please, please do, if you do use this tip, wherever Extus puts this interview, please put it in the comments below what's going on for you. Share it with other people, because we all want them to thrive. We don't want to get to the top of the castle and be king and lord by ourselves. We want other people with us. So share your results, inspire others to use it too, please.
Awesome, Curly. Love it, love it. And that's an awesome tip. I'll definitely try that out. I've never tested
Great.
anything of this out, but I'll get the compass and I'll put it down, see where the south, you said southwest, right?
Southwest.
Yes, check that out. And yeah, we'll definitely go from there. Okay, awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for making the time to be here. Really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch, okay?
Beautiful. Thank you very much for this time together with you, Extus. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. You're welcome. We'll enjoy. See you.
Thank you. Bye.